Hello everyone, how are you guys doing today? My name's Aviana, this is Aviana's Ascension, and today I am doing a collective reading. It's been a while since I've done a collective reading that wasn't just about like a new moon or full moon kind of thing, but I've been going through, I've been coming to a few different realizations within my own healing journey. And I just want to kind of tap in today and talk about that, see who all is resonating, if you guys have anything to add in regards to what we're talking about today, all that good stuff. You guys know how it is. You guys know what we're doing. Alrighty. I'm going to pray real quick and then we'll just jump into it. Let me get my incense going though. Give me 1 second, friends. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff if you're picking up what I'm putting down. But today's topic is going to be really cool. I'm excited about it because I feel like it's been a while for me since I've had to really reflect on myself. I mean, I reflect on myself quite a bit, but like this, I've been going through a long, your whole life is a healing and transformation journey, right? But this, I've been on this like wavelength for some time. And I'm a pretty self-aware person, I like to think. But this is going to be a cool reading, I think. It's about, I feel like this is not going to stay lit for very long. I don't like that. All right. That's better. Okay, so let's pray and then I'll get into it because I can't multitask, obviously. But thank you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. Let's just pray and shuffle and then we'll get into it, okay? All right, universe, spirit guides, guardian angels, ancestors, divine Holy Spirit, thank you so much for connecting with me today and every day. Thank you for connecting me with the collective today and every day. And thank you for connecting me with the collective for this reading at this time. At this time, please provide the collective with any guidance, insight, clarity, wisdom, advice, anything you deem fit for the, thank you for the like. Anything you deem fit for the collective to hear at this time, please and thank you. Thank you for using me as a humble vessel to provide these messages for the collective at this time. Allow me to trust in the messages I receive, trust in my intuition. Allow me to articulate these messages clearly and accurately for the collective. Allow me to deliver these messages with pure love and light, no judgment, no bias, please and thank you. Thank you for the beautiful opportunity to co-create with the universe every day. I'm very grateful to be a full-time employee of the universe. Thank you so much for the success with Aviana's Ascension. I'm very grateful for this life journey and soul purpose. Thank you so much. Thank you for these messages for the collective. Please provide us with anything you deem fit for us to hear. Please allow these messages to be of the highest level of accuracy, come out clearly. Allow these messages to find those that they are meant for. And allow these messages to be made of pure love and light, please and thank you. Allow these messages to be for the collective's highest and truest self, overall well-being, most good, ascension process, sustenance, and the relationships closest to the collective, please and thank you. Thank you so much for these messages. Thank you for all that you do for us, all that you provide for us. And thank you so much for this life on earth. For that we are forever truly grateful. Thank you. Amen. Namaste. Hello, Chris. Nice to see ya. Okay, so let's talk about it because I'll get distracted and not know what I'm doing. Okay. Okay, so realigning with discomfort. What that means for me is the past couple days, I have been allowing more time and space, more acceptance for the more uncomfortable feelings that we feel. You know, like anger, irritation, annoying, sadness, loneliness, all of that. I am definitely someone who, without even realizing, because you know, Aviana's attention, right? Like I do a lot of healing, a lot of light work, you know, things like that. But sometimes I can be so focused on the healing, the light work, so focused on my job, my, you know, content, you know, that I forget to allow myself to enjoy this human experience. I forget to fully experience the human experience, which includes those uncomfortable feelings, you know? Sometimes, like, you know, okay, sometimes I realize, you know, let me know if you guys resonate with this. Sometimes because you are so aware of, you know, getting to the root of things, the root cause, sometimes knowing that everything is love and that you shouldn't judge, there's no separation, knowing that we're all one, sometimes this awareness can get me to overanalyze my feelings rather than just allowing myself to feel them and accept them, embrace them, which then causes further problems later on down the road. You know, I was sitting with my sister and I was telling her how I just did not feel supported. And she was just a little confused, and she was saying, you know, I know that I'm here for you if you need me. I know you have friends and other family members of ours that are always there if you need them. So, like, I'm just trying to figure out where this feeling of unsupport comes from. And after talking through it with her, I honestly was in the middle of like really analyzing my feelings, and I was like, well, you know, I don't feel supported because I want people to show up exactly how I show up, but I understand that because of what I'm here to do, I show up differently because of, you know, that's just how I'm supposed to show up because I'm the healer. I'm, you know, the light worker, spiritual person, whatever. And sometimes I wish I had a version of me to be there for me. And it's so funny because now that I'm sitting here like talking about it with you guys, I'm like, that version of me is me. Me needed me. You know what I'm saying? So like sometimes you just become so over analytical because you have all this awareness, and you know that's kind of how the human brain works, right? Like we have this, you know, brain so we can think, so we can analyze, so we can observe, so we can come to different conclusions and expand and grow. But sometimes the simplest things you need are to just be human and to just kind of relax and allow things to just be, right? And so for me, I definitely I definitely have a hard time sitting with those uncomfortable feelings, because when I was like 19, 20, those uncomfortable feelings running rampant in my life were the reason that I started all of this healing stuff and this light work, right? So for me, I had to realign, reassociate, redirect the narrative surrounding those uncomfortable emotions, you know? So I allowed myself to do this. It's interesting I said I allowed myself. I did this by journaling, because I journaled all the time when I was younger, when I was like 19, 20, 21. And I still have these journals. I think it's important for me to keep them. I like to have them to see my growth. But it's interesting that, you know, the better I am, because I definitely have shifted and transformed myself a lot since then, but I haven't been journaling. Not nearly as much at all. I journaled every day. You know, I still do my yoga and meditate and do tarot, but the journaling, not so much. So I decided to start journaling some more, and because that was always a way that helped me like sit with my feelings and really feel them, and not just analyze them or overthink them, but really be like, you know, I'm annoyed today, I'm sad today, and just allow it to be that. And so I started journaling more, and yeah, I just realized that because of the association I had with these uncomfortable feelings in the past, it made me kind of shun them. And because I am in a different mindset, in a different energetic field, whatever, I don't respond in the same way. So for example, if in the past I shunned them, they would come boiling out like a lot, it would be a lot. But now because I've, transformed so much, I can still shun them, but they won't boil out like that in the same way. You know what I'm saying? But because of how much I've learned, I'm still aware of the fact that, something just was a little off with me. So yeah, I'm journaling, allowing myself to journal, and allowing myself to really sit with these feelings, listen to these feelings, and just allow and accept them for what they are. So, for example, I used to judge myself for I used to judge myself for, being annoyed in traffic, or being annoyed when someone would when people get extra close to you and it's like, bruh, are you trying to drive through my car? Slow down. I'm hop off, I would judge myself for that. And it's listen, I'm a human having a human experience. It's so normal to be annoyed in traffic. Because yes, you have on one hand, you're human, you're here to live this human experience, but on that other hand, you have everything is love, we all come from love, everything's one. But that does not mean that you can't be annoyed, okay? Because what I learned recently is that I need to appreciate that feeling of irritation, that feeling of annoyed, because even though it's not the same as just pure unconditional love, it is a form of love, okay? That irritation, that annoyance with somebody being that close to me keeps me safe, right? Say I had no spidey senses, no feeling, no intuitive guidance, and someone was that close to me, they could hurt me, they could injure me, You have to be aware of what's going on around you when you're driving. And sometimes that awareness can come out in feeling irritated, feeling annoyed, And so I'll get over and just let that person pass me, or they can get over and pass me, whatever they feel they need to do, whatever. But judging myself for that feeling of annoyance and irritation, there should not be space for that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think just reassociating, realigning with those uncomfortable feelings. So I did that with a few more feelings. Okay, so I was feeling, lonely the other day. Because to be fair, I do isolate myself quite a bit. I'm very, very focused on my business, Aviana's Ascension, growing it, focusing on writing a book, doing my yoga training. I've got a lot of balls in the air right now. So socializing, hanging out with friends is not the highest on the priority list, right? But because, I don't hang out with my people a lot because I'm focusing, I do get lonely, right? So that loneliness, I realize, leads to inspiration, all that judgment. And I feel like we put a lot of, judgment on these feelings, even though they come from love just as much as happiness and joy and positivity do. So does irritation, anger, loneliness, all that. It's all love. So embrace it with the love you embrace joy, happiness, and positivity. That's what I've learned. That's what I've realized here, is that the narrative you have surrounding these uncomfortable feelings needs to change, not having the feelings. How you respond to those feelings needs to change, not having them. You have to realign with uncomfortable feelings, Because I feel like a lot of the times, a lot of us, kind of turn negative into positive. And see, I like that you said that, because you notice I didn't say any of these feelings were negative. You know what I'm saying? It's if you think of them as oh, well, I'm angry, that must be something bad about me, turning it into, I accept myself, I love myself for feeling these feelings, they are keeping me safe right now. My anger helps me have boundaries. If things didn't make me angry, I would people be walking all over me. You know what I mean? But because I get angry, it allows me to see what does not resonate with me. And anger shows me what's right for me, just like things that make me happy show me what's right for me. It's beautiful, it's all the same thing. But because of our society, our culture, we tend to put these labels on feelings like anger, sadness, irritation, annoyance. We put that as we see it as negative, but really it's positive because it shows us what's for us and what's not, and it's all a part of the human experience. Even if you don't want to boil it down that deeply, it is a part of a human experience to have different emotions, because we all come from love, right? I believe that it's just love. You know, people call it heaven, nirvana, God. I call it love. It's just love. That's why your loved ones, you know, walk you back whenever we're dying, right? So those emotions are just like love. Those emotions are love. Okay, I feel I got trailed off there a bit, but yeah, it's just love. Just like, okay, let's get into the cards, because I feel like I'm trailing off. And it's definitely, because the way my mind works, Chris, is like I'm very analytical. I analyze, overthink. Like, I like to be in this little noggin quite a bit. So the more I allow these emotions to be, the more I trust what I'm feeling, the less in my head I am about them, which obviously makes sense, right? Like, if you allow things, you're not going to overthink, right? So, I mean, I've just been going the past couple days just listening to my intuition, and obviously I'm a very in tune person, but I've been applying it to this healing journey, to, you know, my business, rather than applying it to my day-to-day as well. And so lately I have been, and I've been having really great days. Instead of like forcing myself to follow a to-do list that I created, or forcing myself to follow a morning routine that may not resonate with me that day, I'm just going with what feels right. And I found that I'm more productive, I'm happier. My like natural like rhythm cycle that feels right for me is more apparent to me, like in regards to like when I'm hungry and things like that. So yeah, like instead of like judging myself if I feel like sitting down and watching some TV for a little bit, I'm just like, okay, we feel like chilling right now. You know? That's fine. Allow that. That's what I've been doing, and it feels great, honestly. It's really nice. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to pull some cards on it. But yeah, I think the anger one is the best example with like boundaries and stuff. Because if we didn't have boundaries, if we didn't like feel anger or sadness or disappointment, we wouldn't have boundaries, we wouldn't grow, we wouldn't learn. Now I remember what I was trailing off about earlier. Okay, everything is love, right? When you go back, it's just love. That's what I imagine. So if we were here on Earth just to feel love, Earth wouldn't be here. There would be no point, you know, because we could go where we come from and be love. But here, we need to grow, evolve, learn, release some karma, help others, and have that human experience. And if it was just about love and feeling good, we wouldn't be here as humans. We would just be that energy, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it's called, technically. In the fifth dimension. Oh, my cone's rolling around. All right, let me relight this cone thing, and then we'll be ready to go. But I've got the Osho Zen Tarot here. I've got the book here, too, in case anything weird comes out. I don't know why I said it like that, like anything weird comes out. You know, I like the cones. I like the idea of them, but I feel like they're a little more inconvenient than they are helpful. Maybe it's just me, though. Maybe I don't know how to properly like them. That's probably what it is. And that's okay. I'll get to it one day. Okay. Let's go. Let's get into it. That's crazy. I've been working on something similar, and when I tell myself something negative, I immediately correct it and switch up perception. Thank you. And see, like, I used to do that, too. Like, and it was honestly creating, like, a very big, like, back and forth, like, in my mind. Like, I was literally going to drive myself crazy. Like, I would be at work or something and say I would be like around a coworker I didn't particularly care for, or had and I serve tables during the day or at night, whatever. Or say I like was waiting on a table I didn't like, or like they were annoying. I wouldn't allow myself to be annoyed. And it's just like, if I was totally, let me talk about it for real. If I was totally, entirely happy and joyous and loved every single part about waiting tables, I wouldn't have started this business. Y'all wouldn't see me doing tarot. Okay? Maybe I would do it for friends, but I would just be serving tables forever, because I do like serving tables, but I know that there's more out there for me. And if I didn't have those feelings of feeling annoyed or overwhelmed or irritated at my serving job, then I wouldn't know that I was meant for more. So it's just about allowing these feelings and saying, thank you for showing me that, you know? And even if it's like outside of feelings of like irritation, annoying, like, you know, say you feel lonely. Like the other day I felt lonely, so I laid in my bed, in my soft, comfortable bed, and held my teddy bear and allowed myself to feel lonely. And I loved it. I loved it. It made my heart so happy. I felt like a little kid again, you know, instead of like judging myself and being like, you shouldn't feel lonely. Let's keep it moving. Go be productive. Like, no. I'm a human, here to have a human experience, you know? And if I didn't feel lonely in these moments, then that would tell me that, you know, I didn't miss my friends and I didn't want to be social. And I love being social. I love being around people. So that loneliness shows me that. And I'm grateful for that. So I'm going to go out with some coworkers or something. I'm going to do something. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But, you know, like, that's what these feelings are showing you. Yeah, I'm trying to work on it too, Chris. And honestly, it really is, it really does help a lot for me. Because I will say it, I am an overthinker, okay? I be in this noggin all day. But the more I allow myself to feel and just go with my gut, like, and sometimes, like, if you find yourself in moments where you're like, I don't know if I should listen to that, I just kind of quiet myself and put my hand on my heart, or maybe even like your stomach, your gut, and just be like, what feels right? And just go with that and trust it and not overthink it and not judge yourself for it, you know? All right, let's see. Bottom of the deck, we've got the Courage card. Absolutely. This is all about, you know, this is being brave to allow yourself to be soft and to not be perfect. That's what I'm feeling. Like how this flower is kind of coming out of the concrete, you know, because concrete, obviously we all know it's hard, it's stone, you know, like it's not an easy thing to deal with, right? But this softness, this gentleness, this earth is coming out of it despite the opposition, you know. And I feel like a lot of us have, you know, lived in different societies, different cultures, you know, our parents, whatever. Sometimes growing up, we aren't allowed to feel certain feelings or express certain feelings, or maybe like there would be times in the past where you would express feeling upset or annoyed and people would judge you. So you felt like, oh, I should hide that or dilute that or mute that, and then I'll be how I should be. But it's like, no. You are how you should be because you are who you are. So just show up how you are truly, genuinely supposed to show up, you know? But I feel like overall, it's a level of bravery to show up as a gentle, soft flower in a very hard world, you know? And the reason that a lot of people show up like that is because they haven't been provided the space within themselves or externally to allow their emotions to, you know, show up truly. What is this? All right, we have consciousness here. So I'm trying to find it in this book because I don't remember. I don't use this deck. Oh, there it is. Found it. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we have consciousness here. I'm just going to read and see what it says. It says, we come from the unknown and go on moving into the unknown. We will come again. We have been here thousands of times, and we will be here thousands of times. Our essential being is immortal, but our body, our embodiment, is mortal. Our frame in which we are, our houses, the body, the mind, they are made of material things. They will get tired, they will get old, they will die. But your consciousness, for which Body Dharma uses the word no mind, Gautam Buddha has also used the word no mind, is something beyond body and mind, something beyond everything. That no mind is eternal. It comes into expression and goes again into the unknown. This movement from the unknown to the known and from the known to the unknown continues for eternity unless somebody becomes enlightened. then that is his last life. And then this flower will not come back again. Ugh. Oh, and this flower. Okay, so a lot of you guys, I feel like the reason this may feel so uncomfortable, like having to really kind of flip that mindset on its head, is because you've never gotten this far before in your enlightenment. You know, like the book said, once you get here, you don't have to come back. You don't have to be reincarnated again. You know, you get to stay in heaven, nirvana, the fifth dimension, the love, whatever. So for a lot of you guys, you've been in the concrete for a very long time. All your past lives, you've never gotten to this flower point. So having to realign with these uncomfortable feelings, having to be that brave one, that black sheep, to accept these feelings, it's a lot. It's uncomfortable. And a lot of us have never done it before. I can tell I haven't, because just like, and it could just be like having a human brain, you know, like there's some things our human brains just don't understand, but it could be having a human brain that makes it such a mind fuck, you know. But no, like whenever I came to that conclusion the other day, I was just like, oh my fucking God. It's crazy. Okay. This flower that has become aware of itself need not come back to life, because life is nothing but a school in which to learn. True. He has learned the lesson. He is now beyond illusions. He will move from the known for the first time, not into the unknown, but into the unknowable. What is the unknowable? I don't know about that. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm childish. I'm sorry. Yeah, but with fighting here, just like I said, like the unknowable, I was like, I don't know what that is. I'm kind of scared. I feel like some of us, we've gotten to, it is a lot. It is a lot. Okay. But with unknowingness, I said, you know, whatever that is, I'm scared, don't know. I feel like a lot of us, we've repeated, come to, you know, reincarnated, and now we're at the point of becoming truly enlightened. I feel like, you know, we've seen so much change in society lately that it really proves to me that a lot of us are getting on this train, right? That's why mental health, you know, all this healing crystals, like all this stuff is becoming more and more popular, because we're all becoming more and more enlightened, right? But I feel like because we know that after this lifetime, there's another thing that we have no idea about, or maybe we do, like in our higher self, we know, but I feel like in a way we don't, and that's why we kind of fight this a little bit, because it is a little, it's, you know, we all know it's safe, not safer, it's easier to stay in your comfort zones. It's easier to stay in an energy that you are familiar with. So for some of us, I feel like realigning with these uncomfortable feelings, we may fight it, because we know that once we do that, that's game over. In a good way, right? It's in a good way, but sometimes the ego likes to stay where it's comfortable, so, you know, it may try to keep you stagnant. Okay, we have sharing and letting go. Yeah. This is definitely the time right now where a lot of us are, you know, just putting more on the table, being honest, allowing the tears, allowing the vulnerability, for sure. Vulnerability takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strength. It's one of the bravest things you can do, right? Okay, we're 30 minutes in. Let's go ahead and get some tarot. Let's pull some cards. Let's see what's going on. All right, let's see. Okay, so we have compromise here. Honestly, I'm going to read out of the book a lot, I think. I wasn't going to. I was going to, you know, mainly do it off of intuition, but I don't know. I don't feel that way right now. It's interesting how this book is, okay, so I feel like this is it. This book is very interesting how it's organized. It's kind of weird. So no. Am I confused? I feel like I'm confused. Oh, okay. I got it now. I got it, guys. Don't you worry. Yeah, this is Osho Zen Tarot. This is the deck I'm using. It's really cool. It's like, you know, it follows, you know, Buddhism, I feel, or whatever. But it's cute. Okay, let's talk about it. So with compromise, okay, so we have here, I definitely feel like this is representative of like the ego and the higher self, or the shadow, the higher self. Because we all, I mean, I'm not going to say we all know, but I know that the shadow, the ego, it's a version of you that wants to keep you safe. You know, the version of you who has experienced the pain, the trauma, without the understanding and awareness of, you know, why things happen. And they just want to keep you safe and not have you repeat anything that's painful again, which super cool. I understand that, but that's the power of perspective. You change it from something painful into something that helps you grow and learn. It's a little bit different, right? Okay, so compromise. Don't be clever. Otherwise, you will remain the same. You will not change. And that's the thing. And I was saying earlier, overthinking, overanalyzing these feelings can keep you stagnant. Just feel them. Don't overthink. Don't get too in your head. Just listen to your gut, listen to your intuition. And for some of us, I think a good reference point would be like, okay, well, if I was feeling this way, think of someone that, you know, always made you feel safe when you were younger. For me, it's like my great-grandpa. And I would just think of, okay, if he was here right now, how would he comfort me through this? You know, we would dance, listen to music, maybe eat some really good food, maybe do a crossword puzzle. You know, maybe just hold me, rock me, you know, do little things like that. If you can't, if it's hard for you to not overthink and overanalyze your feelings, because I've been there. I get it. I literally was just there 2 days ago. Okay. Half techniques on the path of love and half techniques on the path of meditation will create much infusion in you. I'm telling you guys, I was like really going crazy in my head. Okay, I was like especially whenever you know that everything is love, and then you're like, then why am I annoyed? And should I not be annoyed because blah, blah, blah. Just be annoyed. Just allow it to happen. It's okay. You know? They will not help you. But to ask for help is against the ego, so you try to compromise. This compromise will be more dangerous. It will confuse you more because, made out of confusion, it will create more confusion. So try to understand why you hanker for compromise. Sooner or later, you will be able to understand that compromise is not going to help. And compromise may be a way of not going in either direction, or it may be just a repression of your confusion. It will assert itself. Never repress anything. Be clear-cut about your situation. And if you are confused, remember that you are confused. This will be the first clear-cut thing about you. You are confused. This is a funny book. You have started on the journey. Okay, that's dope. I like this. I like this because it's like, if you are confused, if you are overthinking, that's okay. That's a good start because you got to start somewhere, right? So, yeah, just be confused. You know, if you're sad, just be sad. Don't try to compromise it. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to overthink. Don't be clever. First thing it said. Because then thinking and that confusion just leads to more confusion. And as someone who recently did it, I get that. I can attest to that for sure. All right, let me drink some water. I'm thirsty. Lord, that was delicious. I love water. Like, honestly, water's the best. See, I'm an Aquarius too, so I get that overthinking, but okay, if you need to overthink, first of all, a good way to not overthink is to always come back to your breath. That's what I found. Just, if I'm overthinking, just focus on my breathing. Literally say inhale, exhale, as you do it. Second, I feel like once you realize that, okay, everything is love, right? So being annoyed is love, being angry is love, being lonely is love, right? Because it shows you what's for you, what's not for you. Okay? So let me like really break it down. So, like I was saying, because I know you said lonely earlier. So, earlier I said, I've been lonely lately because I've been really focused on my business and not been socializing, not been hanging out with friends as much, right? That is love. That is good, because if I was satisfied with being a hermit and just focusing on my career, I wouldn't feel lonely. And that's not me. There are some people who are career driven. That's what they want to do. That's what they're focused on. Like, I feel like a lot of doctors are like that because, you know, they spend so much time doing what they do. That's their love, you know? They don't feel lonely. Maybe they do. But, you know, they don't feel that loneliness because they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're meant to focus on that career. They're meant to focus on that. I'm supposed to do my career as well, but my career, anyways, I'm getting off track. So, because I'm not meant to, you know, kind of be a hermit and not hang out with people and only do my business, I feel lonely. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because that means I miss my friends, I miss socializing, I miss being out on the town. I think that's great, because that means that's what I want to do. Yeah, it may not be the time for it right now. I will, you know, like, I've made plans to hang out with some of my friends this week because I allowed myself to feel that loneliness and really be okay with that. You know what I mean? Just allow yourself to be lonely and understand that doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. That doesn't mean that the way you're thinking is wrong because you feel lonely. You're supposed to feel different emotions because you're human. And everything comes from love, even those uncomfortable feelings. You have to realign, reassociate, change the narrative you have surrounding these feelings. And then you won't need to overthink them. And I feel like a lot of the times, consequences, I guess, of overthinking, or no, consequences of not accepting yourself fully is overthinking. So when I wasn't accepting that I was sad or lonely or whatever, I would overthink. And then I came to the conclusion that I didn't feel supported by anybody. And that's not true. And like the book said, if you start overthinking, coming to conclusions in a confused state, that end state is going to be confused too. And thank God I was with my sister, because she was like, I'm confused because you do have a lot of support. You know? I hope that helped a little bit. But okay, let's keep it moving. Here, let's keep it, because look, this book, it has like the actual like meaning thing, and then this is something else. So I feel like this is important too. In the courts of ancient Japan, the male attendants were often selected from the ranks of petty criminals who were castrated. Oh, okay. I wasn't prepared for that. I was not prepared for that. Okay, okay, let's keep it moving. Because of their intimate familiarity with the activities of the court, they were often at the center of the political and social intrigues and exercised a great deal of power behind the scenes. What does that have to do with its first sentence? Okay, anyways. I don't know why that threw me off so much. Okay. The two figures on this card remind us of the sleazy and conspiratorial situations we can get into when we compromise our own truth. It is one thing to meet another halfway, to understand a point of view different from our own, and work towards a harmony of the opposing forces. It is another to cave in and betray our own truth. If we look deeply into it, we usually find that we are trying to gain something, whether it is power or the approval of others. If you are tempted, beware. The rewards of this kind of compromise always leave a bitter taste in the mouth. Yeah, so definitely, I find when, like, for me, compromising my feelings and accepting my feelings, I will force myself to, like, be productive. And I will notice that that content is not as genuine. It doesn't have as much passion behind it. as the stuff that I feel intuitively guided to do. Like this, I felt guided to do it. I was like, let's do reading. I feel like that feels right, right? But say I wanted to just chill and watch TV, I wouldn't be as invested, I wouldn't be as focused, I wouldn't be as interactive as I am now. So it's like, just honor your feelings, don't compromise them, don't try to negotiate with yourself about how you feel or what you should do. Just honor. And Chris, be careful listening driving, okay? But yeah, because sometimes we feel like, especially for those of us that have, you know, become more aware and know that everything is love, it's sometimes it's hard to understand that these feelings come from love as well. Love is all encompassing. Everything is love. So love is going to look wild and feel different, you know, than our picture perfect view that we've been taught our whole lives. You know what I mean? Okay, we have celebration here. Look at these girls dancing in the rain. That's exactly, okay, but this is kind of the opposite of it. You know? Like if the rain makes you sad and makes you want to cuddle up and sit down, do that. If it makes you want to dance, do that. But I feel like this is about celebrating the feelings that come up, celebrating whatever weather the day brings that day. That's kind of, okay, that's a perfect analogy, and I'm really excited about it. Judging your feelings is kind of like judging the earth when it rains or when it snows or when it's sunny or when judging the leaves because they're changing color. You know, like we all go through seasons, natural cycles within ourselves and our lives. Allow yourself to go through your cycles. You don't judge, you know, the earth because it's winter. You know, to be fair, my least favorite, you know, season. I hate being cold, right? But I bundle myself up. It's not like I am like, okay, well, let's pretend like it's not cold and I'm just going to go out in shorts and stuff and pretend like I'm not cold. No, I'm going to acknowledge it's cold. I hate that it's cold. But, you know, I'm going to do stuff to, you know, accept that it's cold. I'm not going to go change the weather. Absolutely. That's exactly right, Chris. That's exactly right. Because to be fair, I was definitely like having this crazy back and forth with myself, trying to understand like the difference in like trying to make everything fit. Okay, let me rewind. I didn't realize that everything is love meant literally everything is love. Just as it is. I thought that meant once everything is like, I thought that meant that we had to like dig, like kind of like I'm seeing like an archaeologist. Like everything is love. Okay, let's get to the root. Let's like imagine I'm dusting stuff off and like let's get to the root and see, you know, what this whole thing looks like so we can really see how it is love. And it's like, no, it doesn't require that much overthinking and that much analysis. Everything is love just as it is, okay? Like, that's it. Everything is love just how it is. There's no explanation behind how it's love. There's no why it is love. It just is love. Okay, let's read about celebration. I like the idea of me reading the cards and diving deeper. We'll see how long this live is. I'm really vibing. Okay, celebration. Life is a moment to celebrate, to enjoy. Make it fun, a celebration, and then you will enter the temple. The temple is not for the long-faced. It has never been for them. Look at life. Do you see sadness anywhere? Have you ever seen a tree depressed? Have you ever seen a bird anxiety-ridden? Have you seen an animal neurotic? No. Life is not that at all. Only man has gone wrong somewhere, and he has gone wrong somewhere because he thinks himself to be very wise, very clever. Your cleverness is your disease. This whole thing is about stop being so clever. Don't overthink your feelings. Don't be too wise. And always remember to stop. Don't go to the extreme. A little foolishness and a little wisdom is good. And the right combination makes you a Buddha. That's beautiful. I agree. Because just like Chris and I are both Aquariuses and we both can overthink, that gets us into trouble. Yes, it's amazing to be able to think outside the box and to come to these wild realizations, but you also have to be able to, you know, be on earth and like chill and stuff, you know? A little fun, a little wisdom, a little foolishness, a little wisdom. It's about balancing the two. You got to have that balance. And that's what I'm learning as well myself, is allowing myself to be human, allowing myself to have good days and bad days, and understanding that all of those days are beautiful in love, because it's love. Everything is love. That's why. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, let's keep it moving. I like the vibes. I like the vibes. Okay. Okay, so we have guilt here. Guilt. So this may be a common uncomfortable feeling that we may try to push away. Guilt is obviously not comfortable. You know, no one likes to feel guilty. This person's got a lot of fingers and hands on her. Okay, but let's talk about guilt. Let's talk about, how is guilt love? Okay. Have a good day, Chris. Thank you. But with guilt is love, because guilt shows us how we can show up better. You know, like say you feel guilty about something you've done. I'll give an example for something I did. I'll be honest. I'm very honest on here, so let's just be honest. Okay, so I would say like a few months ago or something, I was living with a roommate. It was just not working out. Okay, and I kept trying to like communicate and trying to just make it work and just, you know, compromise and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it just wasn't working. And I got to the point where I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna move out. I'm just gonna go, because I knew for myself, I knew I was gonna get out of character, and I didn't want that. Okay, I didn't want to get to that point, so I just removed myself from the situation. Okay, and I definitely felt guilty about that. This is someone I've known for a long time, and unfortunately, it was time to walk away from that friendship. There wasn't anywhere else it could go. It was time. Okay, and I felt very guilty about that. I didn't want her to be in any sort of compromising or financial situation, and I know she was probably upset to come home and to see a U-Haul, but you know, I had to do what I had to do. You know, I felt very guilty about that. So let's kind of reverse it a bit and see, how is that love? How can I be okay with that feeling of guilt? And what I realized is that, and it's cool because I actually did a reading for myself about this like a month or so ago. So it's cool that I'm coming to this It's cool that I'm coming to this realization with it. But what I realized is, not only with that situation, but there's been a lot of situations where I would feel bad for having to set certain boundaries. I felt bad for having to walk away from certain situations. And I realized, first of all, it's beautiful because it shows how big of a heart I have. It showed me that I really did care a lot about people, and I still care a lot about these people. It's all love and light over here, you know, wishing the best for everybody all the time. But anyways, it showed me how big my heart was, how much I was willing to compromise myself to keep people in my life. That shows how much I really cared and how much love I really have and how boundless my heart is, right? But, you know, how is cutting the people off, how is that love? Okay, that is boundaries. Boundaries are love. And the reason for that is because without these boundaries, I would just continue compromising myself, continue, you know, not doing what was best for myself. And that's not fair to me. That's not sustainable for me either. Okay? Some people are a lot better at like compromising themselves and like not being happy. I'm not one of those people, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depends on how you want to look at it. But yeah, I'm not one of those people. So it is love to set boundaries in that way, because, and also I actually came to an even better realization, is that it's love to, you know, cut off a person, because at the time, you know, neither one of us, like before that, were going to end the friendship or walk away from the situation. And so if you have to be the one to cut somebody off, it is an act of love, because you're showing that person, telling that person like, hey, I may, you know, we may have had a good run. I may love you. You may love me. We may, you know, want to support each other, but that's not what's happening here. And I knew I was holding her back. She probably knew she was holding me back. So let's stop holding each other back so we can actually go towards things that are in alignment for us. That's an act of love, even though it may feel painful. And I think that is because of the way our society, our culture has associated us with endings. But, you know, I transformed that guilt into love and understanding, because I knew that if I hadn't done that, it would have gotten really bad. It would have. There's no doubt about it in my mind. No doubt. You know? And I'm glad that I could recognize that and make a call for both of us so that we could move on to what we were supposed to move on to. You know? All right, let's read a little bit about guilt. Guilt. I'm so funny. Okay, so let's see. We've got guilt here. And sometimes, you know, you may like make decisions that are just for your own good, and that's okay. You know, it's okay to have to put yourself first. That's okay. You know what I mean? But I feel like that really talks about, like, you know, when you have to force the separation or the cutting off when the other person doesn't want to. And it's like you have to love both of yourselves more than this person can, because this person isn't aware enough or willing enough to separate. So you both can go on to what you're meant to go on to, you know? Okay, let's talk about it. Guilt. This moment, this here now, is forgotten when you start thinking in terms of achieving something. When the achieving mind arises, you lose contact with the paradise you are in. This is one of the most liberating approaches. It liberates you right now. Forget all about sin and forget all about saintliness. Both are stupid. This book is hilarious. Both together have destroyed all the joys of humanity. And that's the thing. And that's what we were saying earlier. It's the way you perceive these feelings that deem them positive or negative. So if you change your narrative, then you'll change the way you associate with them, the way you accept them, the way they sit with you. You know, for a long time I felt guilty about moving out. But then I realized, you know, it took me that long because, first of all, I cared so much. And I cared so much that I was willing to walk away even though no one else was. That takes love. You know, whether it's love for yourself, whether it's love for both people, it's beautiful, you know? Okay. The sinner is feeling guilty, hence his joy is lost. How can you enjoy life if you are continuously feeling guilty? If you are continuously going to the church to confess that you've done this wrong and that wrong, and wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong, your whole life seems to be made of sins. How can you live joyously? It becomes impossible to delight in life. You become heavy-loaded, guilt sits on your chest like a rock, it crushes you. It does not allow you to dance. How can you dance? How can guilt dance? How can guilt sing? How can guilt love? How can guilt live? So the one who thinks he is doing something wrong is guilty, burdened, dead before death, has already entered in the grave. Yeah. Guilt definitely keeps us stagnant. Here, let's keep reading about it. Guilt is one of the most destructive emotions in which we can get caught. If we have wronged another or gone against our own truth, then of course we will feel bad. But to let ourselves be overwhelmed with guilt is to invite a migraine. We end up surrounded by nagging clouds of self-doubt and feelings of worthlessness, to the point where we cannot see any, of the beauty and joy that life is offering to us. We all long to be better people, more loving, more aware, more true to ourselves. But when we punish ourselves for our failures by feeling guilty, we can get locked into a cycle of despair and hopelessness that robs us of all clarity about ourselves and the situations we encounter. You are absolutely okay as you are, and it is absolutely natural to go astray from time to time. Just learn from it, move on, and use the lesson to not make the same mistake again. Beautiful. And like I was saying, the mistakes I made in my situation where I was feeling guilty was not respecting my boundaries, not listening to my intuition. You know, I learned from that. I learned a lot from that situation, actually. And I'm not going to just hold on to the guilt. I'm going to hold on to the love and what I learned. All right, I'm going to do one more card. We're about like an hour in. I think this has been a pretty good reading. But yeah, we're just going to do one last card, and that will be that. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. This has been a good one, honestly. It's been a really good reading, I think. And I love being able to, you know, share these realizations with you guys. I love being able to, you know, just connect and, yeah, just talk about what's going on. Okay, let's talk about it. Last card here, the Master, which I think this is the perfect card to end this, because I feel like this is, you know, where we're all going, you know. It's not necessarily being the master of your emotions, but like being the master of your own reality, I feel, and how you allow these emotions to sit with you, realigning with them. Okay, the Master. Beyond mind, there is an awareness that is intrinsic, that is not given to you by the outside and is not an idea. And there is no experiment up to now that has found any center in the brain which corresponds to awareness. The whole work of meditation is to make you aware of all that is mind and disidentify yourself from it. That very separation is the greatest revolution that can happen to man. True. Now you can do and act on only that which makes you more joyous, fulfills you, gives you contentment, makes your life a work of art, a beauty. And that's really cool, because I feel like, especially those like that may resonate with it, I feel like a lot of you guys will, but because for me, I have definitely, you know, I meditate almost every day, you know, like that's my thing. And I feel like I'm at the point where I am realigning with these emotions, accepting them more so I can have more joy, contentment in my day-to-day life. I can have joy and be sad at the same time, you know? Like I can be sad, but bring in the joy by bringing myself comfort, watching my favorite movie, eating my favorite show, watching my favorite movie, eating my favorite show, eating my favorite food, watching my favorite show, whatever. But yeah. Anyway, so let's keep it moving. But this is possible only if the master in you is awake. Right now, the master is fast asleep, and the mind, the servant, is playing the role of the master. And the servant is not even your servant. The servant is created by the outside world. It follows the outside world and its laws. Once your awareness becomes a flame, it burns up the whole slavery that the mind has created. There is no blissfulness more precious than freedom, than being a master of your own destiny. Absolutely. All right. The master in Zen is not a master over others, but a master of himself. Absolutely. His every gesture and his every word reflect his enlightened state. He has no private goals, no desire that anything should be other than the way it is. His disciples gather around him not to follow him, but to soak up his presence and be inspired by his example. In his eyes, they find their own truth reflected, and in his silence, they fall more easily into the silence of their own beings. The Master welcomes the disciples, not because he wants to lead them, but because he has so much to share. Together, they create an energy field that supports each unique individual in finding his or her own light. If you can find such a master, you are blessed. If you cannot, keep searching. Learn from the teachers in the would-be masters and move on. Sharaveti, Sharaveti, said Gautam Buddha. Keep on moving. I may have mispronounced that. I like it. That's where we're ending today, okay? Definitely I suggest, based on what that was saying, find groups, find people. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a mentor, but definitely like find people that are on the same spiritual journey feeling that you're having, you know? Obviously, we're all in different phases of that journey, but, you know, find people that you resonate with. Find people that, you know, make this a safer, more comfortable journey for you. I'm definitely going to start doing, outside of tarot, more like little like town hall vlogs kind of thing. I'm going to start doing them live so we can all have a very open dialogue about different things, like love, doubt. I've done a few vlogs already, but none of them were live. So keep an eye out for that. If you guys liked the way this went today, I'm definitely going to be doing more things like this that don't necessarily surround tarot. That way it's more of an open dialogue for us. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If this resonated, let me know with a like, a comment. Don't forget to subscribe if you're picking up what I'm putting down. I'm very grateful to be able to hang out with you guys, to be able to do what I do. So thank you for making this a safe space for me as well, so I can share my thoughts and my feelings with the internet and the world. I appreciate having this space, and I hope you guys enjoy having this space as well. But yeah, that's all I have for you. If you guys want to check out any of my services I provide or want to know more about me, my website is in the description box below, avianasascension.squarespace.com, and I will have all my social media in the description box below as well if you guys want to check out any of my content outside of this. All right, so thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will see y'all later. Bye-bye.